back to the From the Nosebleeds podcast. I'm Thomas Pocrnic, as always, joined by Thomas Coburn and producer Paolo Gismondi. Season 3, episode 28, I believe, of the podcast.
28.
I got that right. We're really getting up there. The NFL is well underway. We're over a quarter through the season. We got bye weeks this week. We took a bye week from the podcast last week, which is just pretty inexcusable. We're very, very sorry about that. Coburn,
I don't actually think we took a bye week.
You know what?
We just did one episode.
We did one episode.
We did one episode.
This week, we've also we didn't do our Monday episode.
Yeah. So we got back-to-back one episodes for you. It was Thanksgiving. It was Canadian Thanksgiving.
That's very fair.
And as Canadians, we celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I mean, cut us some slack.
Should we do a Thanksgiving draft again?
Maybe we'll do one for American Thanksgiving.
I think we always did it for American Thanksgiving. I don't even think we ever did that for Canadian Thanksgiving.
Also, Canadian Thanksgiving kind of sucks, the timing of it. It's too warm.
I disagree. I really disagree.
Oh, you like it? Okay. You like the warm weather?
American Thanksgiving is just way too close to Christmas. But I'll also piggyback that, or not piggyback. I'll counter argue myself by saying November is just a dread of a month and there's no holidays. So it goes both ways.
Arguments can be made for both sides.
I love playing devil's advocate. You know me. So we'll get into the podcast today. It's the second episode of the week, even though it's our first. But normally in the later stages of the week, we preview what's going on. We're week 6. Like I said, we got Thursday Night Football tonight, Bucks and the Eagles. But before we get into all of that, just quickly, we need to acknowledge that week 5 happened. And any big takeaways from you, Coburn, there?
I can't even remember what happened in week 5. Was that the Geno Smith game? Was that week 5?
Yeah,
that
was a week ago today. It was the Geno Smith game.
Yeah, so that was electric. Yeah, we haven't done an episode since then, I guess. I was cheering for Geno. We didn't really miss much. There was no big stories involving coaches this week. There was nothing of that sort. Yeah, we didn't miss anything.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest story. The biggest story wasn't a game.
Yeah, it's Gruden. And I mean, I predicted the collapse of the Raiders. Like I said, when they're 3-0, I said, show me when they win a game in November, December. I did not think that they would go down like this. Obviously very unfortunate what's happened. But yeah, that was probably, like I said, the biggest, or like you said, the biggest story of last week, that John Gruden is no longer head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Another big story, your fantasy team is just dreadful. I mean, I played you in fantasy last week, and I think I tripled.
You doubled up or triple? No, I think you doubled.
Did you crack 60 points?
55.
I think I could have started Adams and Chase, and alone I would have won.
But I made some trades. I think my team is marginally better than it was last week. And what do? You get better 1 week at a time. Michael Thomas returns next week.
That's a great idea to have. I think when Michael Thomas comes back, Jameis is going to keep throwing Hail Marys to Marquez Callaway, but we'll see. There's always hope.
That was a good moment from last week.
It was one of the
Jameis Hail Mary.
Top 3 moments of the week. But we'll hop right into week 6 action. Like I said, Thursday Night Football tonight. We got the Buccaneers, who are coming off just an absolute beatdown of my Miami Dolphins. That really got ugly. And the Eagles coming off an upset victory over the Carolina Panthers, the 3-1 Panthers. Jalen Hurts came in, big comeback and won that game. So it's a 7-point spread for the Bucs. I think rightfully so. It's in Philadelphia. Do the Eagles have any chance of pulling yet another upset tonight?
It's going to be tough. I mean, you can't run the ball in the Buccaneers. Jalen Hurts is going to have to do a lot of throwing, a lot of running. I mean, can they get Miles Sanders going, I guess, in the receiving game a bit? We've seen teams have almost just stopped running on the Buccaneers. It's very interesting to see. It's because they just know they can't. But you know what? I actually saw something on Twitter. It was about the Bucs covering in primetime games. And I don't think they've covered in their last 10 primetime games. Or maybe it's, it's the last 10 or something. So who knows? But the Eagles are at home. Am I going to say they have an outside chance? Sure. They've been up and down this season. At spots, they've looked pretty decent, and then they've looked ugly. They looked pretty good last week, so maybe this is kind of a letdown spot where they fall back to earth. But, I think the Bucs handle their business, but can you count out Jalen Hurts? Maybe you can.
I think just looking back to last year, I can remember the Bucks getting blown out by the Saints, losing to the Bears, and barely squeaking one out, needing a controversial pass interference no call to beat the Giants on Monday Night Football. I think they played a couple more primetime games that I'm forgetting. This year, they should have lost to the Cowboys, in my opinion. If it weren't for a couple of Greg Zuerlein missed field goals, they lose that game. And they had a really, really close one with the Patriots, also on primetime. Other than that, they've been dominant. Every game Tom Brady's played with the Bucs that hasn't been on primetime, disregard the playoffs, he's been dominant. And then the primetime is where they've sort of struggled. Maybe it's just the fact that it's sometimes even with the Thursdays, it's a short week. I don't exactly know what the problem is, but this is a game that I can see the Eagles covering just because the Bucs are coming off such a high, killing the Dolphins. I think a lot of money is going to be on the Bucs, even though they're -7. But you know what? Primetime, keep the trend of interesting primetime games. I got a good feeling about the Eagles tonight. I'll probably end up being just terribly wrong, but we'll see. It should be an interesting game. Hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good strategy just to pick the underdog on the spread because every primetime game is being so good. They just have to cover.
We'll move on to Sunday's games, and I don't know if this is considered primetime, but it's a standalone game. It's overseas. The NFL is sending two of the best teams across the pond like they always do. Just they're really trying to grow the game there in England. The Dolphins and the Jaguars. What a treat. What a treat for those Brits.
I mean, the good thing about these London games is like we don't have to like watch football at 9:30 in the morning. I mean, you'll watch it this week, but last week,
I'll admit on the
these games are very skippable. These 9:30 a.m. games. I don't know. I get that they're trying to grow the game, but like maybe send over a team that has a couple of stars. Like, you know, you're not going to grow the game.
Tua versus Trevor Lawrence 3 years ago was probably one of the most watched games in the United States because they were the two biggest.
A combined record of 1-9. A combined record of 1-9. That's all I got to say. I don't know. I don't care who wins this game. I don't know who will win this game. Oh,
this is our season on the line. This is our season.
Have you given up?
No, we want to know with Tua. What do you mean giving up? He's back.
When's he coming? Oh, he's back this week.
He's back.
I didn't even know this. Wow, I might have to tune in. But if they lose, are you out?
I'll give you a quick stat about London games. The NFL has never. How long have we been going to London? I think the first game was Dolphins versus Giants, and I think that was in about 2008. They've been sending teams to London for a long time. Never, ever, ever have two teams with a winning record played against each other in London.
Not ideal.
And this year,
maybe they'll send the winning teams to Germany.
I don't know if any teams. Hey, that Germany. Did they announce the city? It was between Düsseldorf, Munich, and I can't remember the last city.
Frankfurt.
I got to brush up on my German geography.
Is that what the last one was? I don't know.
I would go to Germany to watch football.
I would
fly to the moon to watch my Dolphins pick up a win. One day.
I don't know. I didn't know Tua was playing. That makes this game a lot more interesting.
Yeah, that's right. I might start him in fantasy this week over Aaron Rodgers. Why not?
That's a good decision. You should have did that last week when you played me. It wouldn't have made a difference. But let's say Dolphins win and Dolphins cover.
I love it. We'll move on. We don't need to waste any more time on a game like the Dolphins and the Jaguars.
Exactly.
We'll kick right into the 1 o'clocks, and it's your Lions up first. The Lions are going to win a game eventually. You have to think, and I'm glad I've already taken the Bengals in the survivor pool because this kind of feels like a trap. Lions at home, Bengals -3.5. What do you think?
I think it might be more tears for Campbell this week. I think there's another press conference of him crying. I don't know. You're right. This is one of the few games on the schedule that we could win. But I mean, the Bengals, people have to kind of stop doubting them. If
they've been really
they could have
good.
very easily beat the Packers. I mean, also both field goal kickers were just a joke in that game. But is this the first win? I'm going to say no. I just think our defense is so bad and that Bengals offense is really looking good. I think the Burrow might throw for like 350 yards this game. I think we'll be able to score too. I don't know if we'll be able to keep up. I think that the Bengals end up winning this one, although I think, this is one of the maybe 3 to 4 games that we have a chance in. I think the Bengals still win.
Just such a pessimist with your team. I'm rooting for the Lions. I would love to see Campbell get their first win.
I think everyone is. Most people
it's
are
gonna
rooting for
happen
them.
eventually. Like one of these weeks, they're gonna win. They're not an 0-16 team. I think they'll probably win 3 games this year at least.
Oh,
With how competitive they've
that.
been, when you get later on into the season, they're gonna win some games.
Yeah, it could happen. The next week against the Rams. That'll be the first. The first win will be against the Rams. That's what will happen.
Is it in Detroit? Is Stafford returning, or are they going down there?
No, it's in LA. It's in LA.
Oh, that's a lot of distance to travel in the air. Might be a little jet lagged. I don't know. I think this is a week, and then next week they get blown out by 50.
Yeah, probably.
We'll move on to the ever so struggling Kansas City Chiefs. They lost another game a week ago against the Bills, and it wasn't really even all that close. But they play the Washington football team, who have also been, I guess, equally disappointing this year. Not equally, but they've been a disappointment. The defense, supposed to be one of the best in the league, has been terrible. Chase Young has 1 sack through 5 weeks now. This screams bounce back for the Chiefs.
I was going to say it's the game of it's the disappointment bowl at this point in the season. I think the Chiefs blow them out of the water. That secondary, it's just, I think Mahomes is going to have a heyday. Now, if there's a game where maybe the Washington pass rush can get back on track, maybe it's against this Chiefs team, but I'll take Mahomes in somewhat of a revenge game, because I feel like that team's going to be playing with some fire.
I bet on Mahomes every single week. Doesn't matter if, even last week, I was just, for some reason, I knew the Bills were a better team deep down, and then way better team, like all around. I can't find it in myself to doubt Patrick Mahomes. I've just seen it too many times. But so my answer again. I hope the Chiefs get back on track here, because I want to see a big challenge for that AFC West late in the season when they play the Chargers next. Vikings and Panthers coming up next. Panthers had a great start to the season. Vikings have had a rough start to the season. Now, ever so suddenly, if the Vikings win this game, they have the same record as the Panthers. I don't know. Is Jets Darnold back, or was last week just a little blip in the radar?
He hasn't been great. He wasn't great. It was a week before that, the Cowboys. No,
he's thrown 5 picks in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I think he's coming back down to earth a bit. I don't think he's somewhere in between is what Sam Darnold really is. I think. I don't think it's the first what we initially saw, and I don't think it's what we saw with the Jets. I like the Vikings to win this game. I think the Vikings are an undervalued team at this point. I think Dalvin Cook is going to play. Now Madison's also hurt, so I don't know what's going on there. One of them will play, most likely. Regardless, they're both fantastic running backs. Alexander Madison, if he was a running back one on a consistent team, like he's a really good running back. The Panthers defense has not looked as good as it was the first couple of weeks. We were like, this is could be one of the best defenses in the league. They've also kind of come back to earth. I like the Vikings to just kind of take care of business. I think they're the better team, and they get back to 500.
To be fair with the Panthers, they have had some injuries on the defensive side of the ball. J.C. Horn obviously broke his foot. I think Brian Burns missed last week. Shaq Thompson's also injured. They're at home here. It's a pick 'em. I'll give the Vikings credit. They're in every game. And sometimes it's not good that they're in every game, like last week, whereas that game should have been over by halftime against Lions. It's a divisional rival. Maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But week 1, they lost a heartbreaker against the Bengals. There was some controversy around a Dalvin Cook fumble. Week 2, they blow it against the Cardinals. They could easily have a much better record now and be competing in that NFC North. I don't know. It's a pick 'em. Maybe I'll circle back to this on the spread picks, but we'll keep it going here. The Colts 10-point favorites. That's a lot for a Colts team, but they are playing against the Houston Texans. Now, 2 weeks ago, the Texans were plus 17 against the Bills, and I took them to cover. They lost by 40 points. Last week, I think they were plus 9 against the Patriots, and I was hesitant because I was like, oh, they're not going to score a point again. And they almost won. They should have won that game. This week, plus 10 against the Colts. I don't know my feelings on this Texans team. Davis Mills looked half decent a week ago. I can't figure them out.
Well, I can't figure either of these teams out. I don't know what's going on with the Colts. Deep down, I still think they're going to win the division. Like I don't know. I don't know how it's going to happen. What are they 1-4?
Yeah.
That's rough. But
You think they're going to win the division?
I still think they have a chance to win the division. Fresh off that nice choke against the Baltimore Ravens. I think obviously I'm not exactly going under the limb when I say I think they're going to win the game, but do they cover? That's a big spread for a divisional matchup too. Eh? That's really interesting. 10 points for, I don't know. In terms of the spread, I've got no idea. I would not bet this game either way. But yeah, Colts take care of business and they get back to 2-4. Watch out, Tennessee.
If the Titans keep losing to the Jets, the Titans against the Jaguars were the biggest lock ever last week, just because Derrick Henry tends to run for 700 yards every time he plays the Jaguars. But I don't know, the Titans, they haven't shown me a lot either. In any other division, I'd say it's over, but maybe I'll agree with you a little bit on this one. The Rams against your Giants. Look at you. You got the Rams back-to-back weeks. This week, the Rams play your Giants. The week after, they play your Lions. I think it's going to be 2 easy wins for the Rams. They got extra rest. Stafford had his first game last week with the Rams where he didn't look like the greatest player in the NFL. He threw a bad pick in the end zone, and it just wasn't all smooth sailing, but they still got the win. That's what good football teams do. Should be a routine victory for them. Should be.
But Daniel Jones is back. He's going to play.
Is he playing? I thought I read he didn't practice yesterday.
I thought I read that he was going to play. Who knows? Anyways,
if Glennon's playing, this is my survivor pick. I'll say that right here.
Interesting that it depends on if Daniel Jones is going to play, because that's how good he's been.
He's actually been better than I expected this year.
It hasn't been his fault that they've been losing games. He's done his job. He hasn't thrown 1,000 interceptions and fumbled every time he's got touched. So good on him. And then he got a concussion, and now Saquon's out. So I don't know what's going to happen with this Giants team. But, yeah, I think the Rams cruise to a victory here. Even if Daniel Jones plays, it's just that Rams, I think, just going to light it up. And, the Rams defense, it's looked, shaky at moments. But overall, I think it's been pretty decent. They take care. What's the spread, though? 9.5.
9.5. That's hefty. That's hefty on the road.
That's a big number. If Daniel Jones plays, I think that number moves. But other than that, yeah, Rams take care of business.
All right, game of the week, and it's at 1:00 to the disappointment of many. Chargers, who were in an awesome shootout a week ago against the Browns, and Ravens. We all know the story on Monday Night Football, Lamar putting the team on his back. I guess Lamar is always an interesting talking point on the show, since I think both of us sort of tend to go back and forth. I think he's a really, really special player. There's no one else like him in the league. He was fantastic on Monday Night Football. Sure, he has his drawbacks, but so does everyone else. And I think he gets overly criticized. But the Ravens are 3-point favorites against the Chargers. This game will have huge implications come December. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's potential that, both these teams could be wild card teams. So, they also could both win the division, for who knows. But, I feel like just kind of collectively, like, people kind of forgot about the Ravens. I feel like after their win against the Lions, people were like, even though they still won, it was just kind of an embarrassing win. They still kind of.
Well, week one, they lost to the Raiders. Week two, everyone, after they lose to the Raiders, they think these guys are for sure losing to the Chiefs. They go down and win. So now everyone's high on them. Then the next week they have like you said, an embarrassing win, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Against the Lions. So they've kind of flip-flopped all season. I don't know. It's just the defense to me is what hasn't given me a lot of confidence so far this year.
I think that, the most interesting part of this game, the defense hasn't been the typical defensive past, but you just saw Lamar kind of go toe-to-toe with Wentz in that last game, and that big comeback that he led, lots of throwing. I think there's a chance it could turn into a bit of a shootout again. Yeah. But this time you're going up against Herbert, which is he's a different animal at this point. You saw him last week against the Browns, just clinical the last quarter. That's the most interesting part to me. Can you do it when there's a little bit more pressure on you, because there's the other guy on the other side of the field is not going to make a mistake. can you go out and, kind of go shot for shot with them?
I agree with you. The only thing I'll say is in Carson Wentz's defense, he did everything last week. I mean, he drove them down the field. I made the joke. Everyone knows the classic Green Bay Packers meme where the fans says they left too much time on the clock. And I mean, I was saying that when the Ravens gave Wentz, what was it, maybe 40 seconds to go, acting like Carson Wentz is Aaron Rodgers. And he took them down the field, and they had a chance to win the game with the field goal. Blankenship was injured. He missed it. And then the Ravens scored a touchdown on the first drive in overtime. So Wentz, honestly, he did everything he needed. But I get what you're saying. It's the sort of the psychological thing. You're playing a different animal in Justin Herbert. Should be a good one. We'll go to Packers and Bears next. Rodgers has dominated this division his whole career. Matt LaFleur is, I think, 12-1 versus NFC North, opponents. I don't think there's much of a story here. I think the Packers, Justin Fields, I think it's gonna be another welcome to the NFL kid moment for him, and I think Rodgers gives him the business.
Most interesting part about this game, that spread could quite possibly. That's the big. It screams. Yeah. It screams biggest trap game of the week.
And I'm going to be taking that.
Everybody will be betting the Packers at -4.5, which means you have to bet the Bears. No, but in all seriousness, I don't understand the number. It doesn't make sense. The Bears their offense has only looked competent against the Lions, which is like, okay, that's not exactly impressive. I don't know. This is that number. I just can't wait to see the outcome of this game, just to see did Vegas trick everyone again, or are they outsmarting you so people bet the Bears and then the Packers kill them? Who knows?
It could very well happen. I wouldn't be surprised. It's happened to me far too many times. 5-0 Cardinals, not favorites against the Cleveland Browns. I get it. It's in Cleveland. I don't know. Should everyone be respecting the Cardinals a little bit more?
I tend to agree with the spread. They didn't look sharp at all last week. I mean, against Trey, geez, we can get to the Niners later. I guess they're on bye week, so we won't really
bye week. That's it. They're done.
Yeah. I agree with this. I didn't like how the Cardinals looked last week. The Browns offense looked unreal last week. Their defense just didn't show up against the Chargers. But I honestly, I think this is the game. This is a strong potential for the Cardinals this is the undefeated streak. Undefeated streak ends. It's a tough game on the road. Cleveland's look good. What are they? -3, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I think the Browns take care of business. I like that the run game has just looked unstoppable. Best run game in the league. I'm going on a limb, even though they're favorites. The Browns beat the Cardinals and end the undefeated streak.
Interesting. I know they're favorites, but to me that even might be an upset. But hey, the Browns are a very, very good team as well. What are they? 3-2 now?
3-2.
They're better than their record says in my eyes, definitely. Raiders and Broncos, of course. We mentioned John Gruden, no longer Raiders head coach, earlier in the show. The interim coach, I think it's the assistant, he's taken over. It's a tough place to play your first game in Denver. I know Denver's sort of come back down to earth, losing 2 in a row, just like the Raiders have. But that's a hard place to play. They've got a great defense. They play hard, good offensive line, solid run game. Good. They're honestly just balanced everywhere, the Broncos. I like the Broncos in this one. I think it's going to be another tough week for the Raiders, and they looked terrible last week against the Bears. I mean, that great offense that they've had just went missing.
Yeah. Also, I think it's a tough game. I mean, Gruden's still on the sidelines for that game. You don't know what's going on in that locker room. It's that tough spot to try to. I mean, I don't care who you're playing. It's just a crazy scenario. But this game, though, it's what was it? I guess it was 2 weeks ago when they were both 3-0. Yeah. You're like, which one of these teams is real? And neither of them are real. I think if we're being honest
classic,
with each other.
like early season, for example, like Derek Carr wins the first 2 games of the season in dramatic fashion, and everyone talks about how he's a potential MVP candidate. If he does those performances in week 8 and week 9, no one cares. Maybe they'll mention Derek Carr's been good 2 weeks in a row. I don't think anyone seriously believes that Derek Carr is going to keep that pace for 18 weeks. But that's just how it works. It's just the talking points that go around this league. But yeah, now one of them, we were talking about how they're undefeated. Maybe they're sleepers for the playoffs. Maybe they're sleepers for the division. One of these teams loses, or one of them is going to lose. They're going to be back down to 500. Then you're in a dogfight for the rest of the season to even have a chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, neither of these teams are going to make the playoffs. I'll call that right now. I'll take the Raiders, upset, new coach. They go into Denver and they win.
Just trying to be different. Just trying to be different.
Trying to be different.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Cowboys and Patriots. Dak Prescott's been on a tear recently. I mean, Mac Jones and the Pats, they got a win last week, but they haven't really looked too great. I don't know. I thought the Patriots would be better than they're showing.
Yeah, it's tough,
especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Hey, you spend all that money, you expect a little bit more than almost losing to Davis Mills. I thought Davis Mills was going to get tormented, and it just didn't. It just didn't pan out. Cowboys though looked. I said they weren't going to win the division. I said the Giants were going to win the division. Yeah, I was wrong.
Worst take of 2021.
Great of me to admit it. I don't know how many teams are in the NFC are better than the Cowboys right now.
I don't know if it was good or bad that you completely sold on that take after week 1.
It was kind of good though.
Like sometimes I respect people who are like, for example, like I'll always keep saying that Tua is the guy at Miami. Like I'll never bail on that take. I'll die on that hill.
Right.
So I don't know if I respect you for just completely hopping off after week 1. I think I do, because now you sort of look like you realize the mistake.
Yeah.
But also, just no loyalty in this business anymore. Unbelievable to just sell that Giant stock so quickly. The Cowboys are honestly, like, they're preparing for the playoffs every week. That has to be their goal. To me, I know only one team gets a bye in the NFC, and I don't think they're the best team in the NFC. I think they're a really, really good team. And like you said, there's not many that are better than them. I think they can play with everybody. I think the 1 seed should be the goal. Get that bye. They do have a pretty favorable schedule going forward, and they should sweep that division.
Well, I think that's tough you give them maybe 1 loss. Like,
yes, and that always happens.
Somebody will get you.
Week.
Yeah.
Sirianni wears a beat Dallas shirt, and that's it. You drop a game to him. It happens.
Watch out for those Eagles. Yeah, no, but seriously, the Cowboys, they look real good.
They do.
3.5 on the road in New England. I think this is kind of a game where you realize if they struggle and kind of end up losing or like playing it close, it's like kind of a fall back to earth. If they go into New England and just like handle their business, that's just another step to, like you said, winning the 1 seed, but just kind of proving yourself as, okay, we're a legitimate NFC championship kind of team.
We'll head over to the Sunday Night Football game that everyone's been dreaming about. Geno Smith against Ben Roethlisberger. Steelers 5 points. I don't know if Vegas saw Geno Smith last week. 5-point favorites is a little bit disrespectful.
You think the Seahawks should be favored?
This guy was taking it to the Rams defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. He was slicing them up.
It was Lockett that slipped, right?
If Lockett doesn't slip, the Rams are
in the mud.
What's the Rams record doesn't right now?
Slip 4-1.
4-1, and the Seahawks are what?
3-2.
2-3.
2-3. Yeah.
I was gonna say they'd be tied, but that doesn't work like that.
They'd be closer to being tied.
Yeah.
Very true. This is most interesting. The best part about this game, and this is a great jersey matchup.
I think they would be. I don't know what I'm saying. They would be tied if the Seahawks win that game. They have 3 wins. The Rams lose that game. They also have 3 wins.
Oh, right,
What a disaster for me. If Tyler Lockett doesn't slip right now, the Seahawks are maybe division favorites with Geno Smith. I'm not going to go that far, but no. Honestly, to the surprise of many, he looked good when he came in to relieve Russell Wilson. Obviously, it's unfortunate for the Seahawks to be in the position that they are, but I don't think it, like, in terms of backups, I think he seems to be a guy who, like, he came in. What impressed me the most was that he was calling audibles. He was signaling to his receivers. Like, he looked like he had been ready for this moment for some time. It's a tough defense. It's in Pittsburgh. Steelers offense sort of came back to life last week, but I don't know.
The terrible towels they'll be waving in Pittsburgh. No, I think Pittsburgh has a good. I mean, yeah, I think they'll win this game, especially with Russell Wilson out. But I just want to see the kind of the offense without Juju now another week. Like, just what does it look like? How do Claypool and Deontay work now? Like a solid 1-2. Do they get their tight ends more involved? That'll be interesting to see. I haven't watched a lot of the Steelers this year at all, to be honest. I've only watched, I don't know, maybe like 5 quarters of their football, so not a ton. It'll be interesting to watch a full game. Big Ben, how washed are you? It looks ugly from what I've seen, but yeah, we'll see. I like the Steelers to win though. And then are they at 500 if they win? Oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 3-3. Watch out.
Hey, Tomlin doesn't do losing records. So you know exactly. They're gonna come into that game wanting to get that win. Quickly, Monday Night Football, Bills and Titans. This game was on a Tuesday a year ago because of that Titans practice gate, if you want to call it that. I know you're not high on the Titans. I know you're gonna say the Bills should handle this business easily. The Titans won the game last year, though. I don't know. Could be a back down to earth game after the Bills beat the Chiefs, but I'm not going to bet against who I think is the best team in football right now, and that's the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, will Stephon Diggs catch any passes?
That's the story because he's been a little off this year.
Yeah, he doesn't get any passes thrown his way. Yeah, I like what you said though. The Titans, there's a big letdown spot here for the Bills, and the Titans beat them last year when everyone thought the Bills were going to win that game. Like they were favored, I remember, and it was in Buffalo. I'm pretty sure
that was a Derrick Henry stiff arm game.
Yeah, but it was in Buffalo, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure
it's all empty stadiums. I honestly couldn't tell you.
That's
I think
true.
it was in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Let's get into.
But yeah, I think there's
picks.
a letdown spot. There's definitely a letdown spot. Spread picks. I think you're first this week.
Spread picks, everyone's favorite segment. We didn't do them on the podcast last week. We did them on the Instagram. And I think we had some of the same picks, which for the 1 week was allowed. I had a 2-1-1 record. I'm not sure where my total record's at. I'm honestly a little scared to look at it. I think you were 1-3 last week.
1-3 to bring me to 10-10 on the season.
I feel like I'm maybe one game behind. But who knows? Who knows?
You got to figure it out after.
I got to figure it out. I should be prepared with this, but I have first pick. Is that correct?
Correct.
Alrighty, I'm gonna take my Miami Dolphins -3.5. This is must win. Tua's back. I know it's in the Jaguars' home of London, England, where they play every year, but give them to me. They need to win this game and make a statement.
I'll say this. Sure, great pick. Ride with Tua. I don't like any of these games this week. I'm not in love with any.
I love so many of them. Let me take the first 3 picks then.
Okay, my next pick, I'll take the Steelers -5. I think Geno Smith he'll play well, but I just think he's not going to be able to hold up against that defense for 4 quarters. I like the Steelers to win by a touchdown. So yeah, I'll take Big Ben. Yikes! I'm betting with Big Ben. I don't think that's going to work out, but I already hate the pick.
Give me those Chargers +3 on the Ravens, quite simply because I think this game could go either way, and I'll take the points with the Chargers. I know they'll be in the game. I trust Justin Herbert. He's been amazing this year, and I could easily see the Chargers win, so I'll definitely take those points.
Okay, I'll take what I feel like is a bit of a trap game. All right, I'll do it. Give me those Vikings -1 on the road.
Pick them. I like it.
Yeah, I'll take them. It's an okay pick. It's an okay pick.
I'll keep it going here. You talked about how you think the Browns are going to win. Again, similar situation to the Chargers and Ravens. Give me the Cardinals. I know they're on the road, but +3 is something I'll take. They're undefeated. And honestly, Kyler Murray, if he's not the MVP, it's Josh Allen, but he's been fantastic so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go with the Browns, man.
You hated the Browns all season
I still
last
do.
year.
I still
And
don't
here
really
you
like the
are saying they're
Browns.
going to beat the undefeated Cardinals. Hey, they can win. They just can't win by
unbiased.
more than 3.
That's very true. I guess this is my last spread pick of the week. I'll take the Raiders plus 3.5. I think they're the better team than the Broncos.
Wow, I was thinking about taking the Broncos.
New coach. New coach, new energy in the building. They come out and win.
One of us is going 0-4 this week. I just want to put that out there. But we got our what? We got our totals left.
Yes.
I might as well just pick out of a hat for this every week. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to over-unders. I would love to add up my over-under. I don't know if I've gotten one right all year. Let's go. Give me the under on the Chiefs and Washington. It's 55.5, which feels a little bit high. I can feel Mahomes putting up 40 and ruining this for me, but give me the under.
All right, I don't hate it. I'm 4-0 on unders and 0-1 on overs this year.
He keeps the stats.
I keep them ready. I'll take the over of 44.5 in the Packers and Bears.
Rodgers might hit that on his own.
Rodgers always lights it up, and I think the Bears kind of just find a way to get a couple points there, and then they cover. This might be an 0-4 week. I'll say it right now.
I'll say that with myself too. I love how we pick these with so much confidence. It really makes it for great show. But those are the spread picks for week 6. That's the episode for today, episode 28 of season 3. That's going to do it all. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you hopefully back on schedule next Monday for a brand new episode, breaking down everything that happened this week.
Have a good week, guys.